See, I will never stop talking about the Jehovah's Witness organization and the atrocities that they are committing, because to me, that is indicative of the greater problem, right? Like, I understand where you feel like we can't fight everyone's battles, and I get that we can't individually fight everyone's battles. I know that, but when we use our voice concisely together about the problems that we see inside of these organizations and governments that use the Bible as a prop to place people under their feet with the authority of God, we will have more power together, right? These are cycles that keep happening over and over and over again. And the Jehovah's Witness organization is just it's a sample of exactly what we see happening on a greater scale. Just like the governing body is a bunch of white dudes circle jerking it, telling each other that they're special. And what happens when we allow a group of elites to radicalize an entire group of people? Well, we've seen it happen. You can get them to do anything. You can maneuver and manipulate them any which way you want to. You can even get them to let their child die and not receive a life-saving blood transfusion. And if we would just compare the Jehovah's Witnesses side by side with a government who radicalizes their people to hate another group of people, you can also get them to commit other atrocities. I mean, we see that happening in the United States as well. Look at what this government has done to people, indigenous people, to its own people. We've seen peaceful protests have the cops come in and fucking shooting people in the eye and taking eyeballs out, gassing them. So again, we see what happens when we let a certain group of white men have authority over entire people groups using propaganda. Did that make any sense? And sometimes I think as Jehovah's Witnesses, we come out of the organization still having that black and white thinking. It's either, it's or, when many things can be true. The Jehovah's Witnesses can be committing atrocities, and what's happening in Palestine can also be an atrocity, and what's happening to your next door neighbor can also be atrocity with what's happening in the Congo and Sudan, right? All of these things are and can be happening at one time, but we're stronger together. And when we don't allow our eyes to be diverted from these causes, and we use our abilities to show how they're all intertwined, right? This is rich people with money, corporations who've been allowed to have far too much power, governments who have far too much power. We're not going to get out of these cyclical happenings. And do I think I'm going to be the one to solve the problem? No, of course not. Of course not. Unless I'm Jesus. He didn't even do it. Woo! I think what I'm trying to say, if we see each other for humans and that we are all suffering under the same motherfucking foot, we have so much more in common, and we can do so much more instead of butting heads and allowing these rich elites and these governments to place wedges in between us, to put stumbling blocks in between us, because they know if they can get us to infight or just go watch the new Johnny Depp movie, that all will be forgotten. The next news cycle will just start all over again. There's a new atrocity. We've just got to learn as humans how to bring it all back in. We need to start learning how to tie it all together. I'm rambling now, but I appreciate your comment. I'm just telling you that I think that I have it in my heart. I'm tenacious. I'm ferocious. I can talk about it all, and I can show people how it's all intertwined. But we can fix it, but we've got to stop allowing history to be erased, because otherwise we have no idea we're in the same cycle. I love you, and I appreciate your comment.